What's up, guys? Okay, so I just recorded the first video about web development, start exploring ideas, web development, starting a career, and now I'm going to go to the next topic. So the next sort of area of subject that I'm going to be covering on this channel, or exploring, not really going to be like don't think of this as, I was about to almost say Wikipedia. You might as well think of this as Wikipedia, because this is where Wikipedia is where I learned some of this stuff. But it's not like official documentation of things. Go compare my stuff to other people. But so this area is a lot more experimental and anecdotal. That's what I wanted to say. It's more anecdotal. It's more how I experience things, how I feel about things. So this is going to be cooking and nutritional lifestyle choices, and then within that is going to be exploring supplements, exploring food and diet choices, exercising. I'm trying to stop saying as much. And I want to get into more technical things like neurotransmitters and how they affect your behavior, how they lead to certain things that you do every day, and you might not know that you do them. You might be unconsciously doing things and acting a certain way and just kind of thinking that's just how things are. Like you've always, you might have always been sort of leaning towards that, like more angry or more like, not I'm going to say OCD, but you're kind of compelled to order things even though it's not really necessary or a good use of your time. And those things can kind of just seem like normal parts of your personality, and to a certain extent they are, but kind of everything that we do is related to neurotransmitters and how our brain is connecting the dots, so to say. Obviously, not dots, but neurons, and connecting, talking between them with neurotransmitters. And so some of the way I phrase things or the terminology I'm using may be off, and I hope people correct me. I hope people are saying you keep saying this, but it's actually this. That's why I'm doing this. I'm not doing this to, school anybody or one up anybody. It's more as like give my opinion of what I've experienced from certain things, and people I've known or people I've heard online, like Tim Ferriss, like Joe Rogan. Joe Rogan experiments with a lot of different lifestyle things like float tanks and meditation and yoga and intense exercise and experimenting with your mind, basically, and exploring different ways of looking at the world. So Tim Ferriss breaks down a lot of different things like that in a very more of a technical manner than Joe Rogan does. Joe Rogan's more philosophical and even sort of spiritual, but not as technical as Tim Ferriss might be. But guys like that have interests in different things. That's kind of what I like to relate it to as far as neurotransmitters go. Like what is actually happening when you feel a certain way during certain tasks, when you're in flow state. You hear that a lot nowadays, flow state. So nutrition and so neurotransmitters, and they're affected by obviously your diet, what nutrients you're taking into your body and how your body's dealing with those and regulating it. And nowadays supplementing and stacking different supplements and with a specific diet, and having an exercise routine and things like that can really change your behavior and really change how you even look at the world, and how optimistic you are, how motivated you are. It's kind of strange, but it's really not if you actually think about it. So yeah, I'm very fascinated with that, neurotransmitters, dieting. I'm very interested in sort of ketogenic, low carb based diets, like experimenting with the other energy system of the body, utilizing fat and ketones as opposed to glucose, and a lot of athletes, they live on glucose, and it works. It's an energy system in the body, but there's another one where you burn fat, and you can burn your stored fat, or you can, if you have a certain amount of low carbs, then you can continuously burn those ketones instead of not having any food at all, to where your body's just eating fat, and you also have to get a certain amount of exercise and protein, and balance that with your lifestyle if you're going to do a diet like that. So obviously we'll go into that another time, and I'll have more notes on it, so I'm not just ranting and talking off the top of my head. So nutrition, food. So I'll be doing reviews of supplements I've tried. I'll be doing like my routine, or how I take paracetam, or how I take what kind of brands that I like or prefer, or anything like that. So I'll be doing some reviews of that. Another thing I want to do is do some really quick form cooking videos for certain recipes, like for breakfast recipes, or for like at lunch recipes that are decently healthy or low carb, and kind of like regimens, so to say, for maybe people with similar body type as me, because I can't speak for I'm more of an ectomorph body type. If you look that up, it won't sound so crazy and alien. So I'm tall and always been pretty skinny, always been pretty lean. I can, even when I start eating really shitty, I always stay around the same weight. I'm about 6'6", 190, 195, and depending on my diet and my exercise routine, I can go from like 185 to 200, depending if I'm eating pizza 3 times a week, which I try not to do that anymore. I'll cover all that stuff in another video. But do some like cooking videos, just show you like how I hit the freaking snooze button and still am able to like cook a meal really quick that's pretty healthy, that gives me energy, and that sticks to a keto type diet. And obviously there's a million things like that out there too, but I've done a lot of trial and error with this stuff on my own, and I think just having that somewhere is good too, even for me, because I've wanted to keep it on my website for a long time, which is not even up yet, but that's another part of it, because I haven't fully decided what I want to do with it. Trying to keep it simple, but I wanted to share like my trial and error with healthy food, and how to shop at traditional stores like Kroger's usually where I get stuff. I don't have to go to Whole Foods or some Trader Joe's or a farmer's market or anything like that to get really healthy food, and to do as good as you can. You can't just say, oh, there's no Whole Foods, so I can't really eat organic stuff, or eat not even organic, but just not buying stuff that it's in boxes or that's got other stuff added to it that you don't know. Just try to keep it to stuff that you can see. It's just, that's that. Broccoli's broccoli. You add the other exact stuff you want to it, other than like, some frozen thing that's already got a sauce packet and seasoned, and, so that stuff. Yeah, so as far as cooking and nutritional videos go, that's going to be more of a show and tell, sort of a how I do things, like an anecdotal, my troubleshoot, my trial and error process with the whole thing, because I didn't really cook as a kid, and even when I graduated from high school, I was living with a buddy of mine, and I had a horrible diet. I worked at the at a Verizon wireless store as a kind of a technical sales rep, and I sort of managed the store too, but I also worked at a pizza shop for the first year I was out of high school. I worked there in high school too, but I eventually just worked kind of full-time at the Verizon store. And I was working at this pizza shop, and I ate pizza all the time, and breadsticks and subs, and nothing healthy. Let's just say that. Everything was greasy and doughy, and just complete carb mayhem. And so I was doing that, and I was living at my buddy's house, and basically I hardly had any money. People flying through here. Didn't have any money, and I wasn't or I didn't have a car either at the time. I didn't. My car had broken down. My car from high school had broken down, and I was in no position to buy a new car. And I couldn't really go to the grocery store, or I could have. There was a grocery store in town, but I wasn't even thinking about diet at the time. And I tried not to eat any of my buddy's food at the house, at his house, because his dad was letting me stay there like rent free. I wanted to get out of my parents' house as soon as possible, and I was best friends with my buddy Jake, and we, we're hanging out at his house all the time. It was kind of one of those houses where his dad didn't really care, if we were coming in and out as much. I'm sure he obviously cared, but he was very lax about a lot of things. So I felt bad. I didn't want to eat any of his food, so I pretty much I brought home pizza as much as anyone asked me. Leftover pizza as much as anyone asked me to, because they had a bar, like a buffet, and there was several different kinds of pizzas out there, and of course people would always request pizzas at the very end of the night and demand that a certain kind of pizza was out there, even though we knew there was not going to be anybody to eat it. And in a way, I didn't mind, because I always got to take it home, and but that was my nutrition for almost a year or more, and it just was not working. So once I started living by myself in an apartment, I started using, or occasionally I would borrow my mom's car, her extra car, and I would make weekly or bi-weekly trips to Kroger and spend, I would save up and spend like $150 to $200 on a bunch of healthy food, and just gorged on, salmon, grass-fed beef, sweet potatoes, spinach, eggs, as much as, and grass-fed butter. I was doing butter coffee all the time, and doing intermittent fasting, with ketone, with fat adaptation, and trying to really get my body to go onto that instead of carbs. And it has lasted for a long time. I can deal with fat, quite a bit of fat in my system, and get energy from that, and kind of fast the rest of the time still. Even I did that 2 or 3, it's almost 4 years ago, where I was going completely good diet all the time, and the difference is total. I just heard Sam Harris phrase something like that, and I was thinking, I wonder if you're allowed to say it like that. I wonder if he kind of coined that way of saying it like that. The difference is total. But I'm sure he read it in a book somewhere too and just said it. So yeah. Trying to figure out where to go from here. So yeah, mostly it's going to be exploring my methods of doing things, how what I've had success with, what I've had trouble with, what I find difficult to this day, what I find pretty easy given my location and budget and things of that nature. So I think it could help some people out, but obviously there's a ton of resources similar, sources similar to this out there that could be more informative or more accurate. So always compare, always test your own stuff, always, everyone's different, different genetics, different lifestyles, different places in your life, in your development too. So always compare. That's kind of my mantra, just always be skeptical, even of me. So the next one is going to be, next couple of videos are probably just going to be covering different topics of what my channel is going to be about. So the first 4 videos will be like that. So this one was about cooking, how I do things on a budget and in a kind of a food desert location, my experiences with different supplements, nootropics, regimens with supplements, and certain stacks and things of that nature, and also exploring the more technical aspects of neurotransmitters and brain chemistry, and how lifestyle and diet and supplementation affects that stuff, and try to get a dialogue with and get a community going about that to shed light on these neuroscientists, too advanced things to think about. Where it's I think they are more digestible than people think, especially if you could see something visualizing it and in a really helpful way. So yeah, cooking, nutrition, diet, supplementation, and brain chemistry and neurotransmitters. That's one of the other areas of this channel. So thanks for watching, and stay tuned for the next video where I will break down another subject. All right, thanks.